Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you watched my video called The Soothsayer's Conspiracy Using Obama, this is similar to that, but on this video we will be looking at how President Trump, who came right after Obama, was copying me. And I've already given some examples of this on my past videos. I'll be showing some of those examples again, but I'll also be showing you lots and lots of evidence that Trump really was copying me. On many news networks, many newspapers, many magazines, they constantly used to show President Trump wearing this hat. Now what's really interesting is that President Trump actually never wore this hat. So why is it on so many different places, so many different pictures? And not only that, when you look at Iranian propaganda sources, you see that they portrayed him not only with this hat, but also with a red turban. Which is interesting because I also wear a red turban sometimes, and the Prophet used to wear a red turban. And notice how they've had Trump with a red turban and a beard and a trimmed mustache. And at the bottom it says Yazidi. Now what's interesting is that the Yazidis actually don't wear these clothes. And the Yazidis are actually allied with Iran itself. Yet in Iran, when they're trying to pretend like they're against America and against Trump, they portray him like this. They make him look like me, and they make him look like, you know, the real Naqshbandis of Afghanistan. And so they say they're against Trump, but then they help him militarily. They helped him in Iraq, they helped him in Afghanistan, they helped him in all the wars and propaganda, and they repeated his lies. But when they're like, oh, see, we're against Trump, but then they portray Trump as a Muslim with a Qalansuwa, not even with a Jewish hat, but with a Qalansuwa and a red turban. And the beard and the sunnah, you know, facial hair, you know, trimmed mustache and the beard. And so again, they made him look like me. And remember, I showed this example before of them showing Abraha, the guy who attacked the Kaaba. They show Abraha in this way. They portray Abraha as looking exactly like this. Again, with the Qalansuwa and the red turban. Even though the Prophet used to wear a red turban and a Qalansuwa, not Abraha. So this is all propaganda, because they want to pretend like they're against America and pretend like they're against paganism, but they're actually doing the opposite. They're portraying the Muslims as pagans and Jews, and then they portray the pagans and Jews as Muslims. You see, this is how they try to confuse you about your fitra and copy the fitra and then twist things around. And this is how they try to distance people from their fitra, so that you will either become misguided or you will deny your fitra and become a kafir. And that's what a kafir means, someone who denies his fitra. And I showed many examples of this about Obama before, but on this video, inshallah, we'll be focusing on Trump. And it's interesting that recently Iran has started pretending like they support the Taliban, but this fake Taliban that we are seeing now, none of them wear the Qalansuwa. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that none of these fake Taliban are wearing the Qalansuwa? Whereas when you look at the old pictures of Mullah Muhammad Omar, for example, you see that he wore it. And here are some other real Naqshbandis in Afghanistan, real, you know, Naqshbandi, you know, Taliban or whatever, you know, people in Afghanistan who were fighting against, you know, Iran and America, and you can see that they are wearing the black Qalansuwa. And I don't wear the black Qalansuwa because I'm not a Naqshbandi myself. I don't support even the real Taliban. I don't support them either. I mean, I consider the real Taliban to be Muslims, whom I disagree with. But I consider the fake Taliban, who have appeared recently, to be absolute kuffar, who are, you know, the ones who support Iran and China and Israel and America. They're completely fake. But it's interesting that the real Taliban used to wear these hats. And now Iran is portraying Trump as wearing this hat instead. And at the same time, they're pretending like they supported the Taliban, and they're the reason why the Taliban won and defeated America, even though the war is still continuing and America is still in Afghanistan, as is Iran. And they just rebranded Iran's military, and now they're calling Iran's military and the Northern Alliance Taliban. It's all fake, but that's for another video. But as you can see, I was wearing this pointy hat. I didn't wear the black one because I'm not a Naqshbandi. I'm not even a real Naqshbandi. I'm not a Naqshbandi at all. But I was wearing the pointy hat all the way back in 2014. And so long before Trump became president. And all these pictures that you're seeing of me, these are, almost all of them are from before 2017 when Trump became president. So I was wearing it first, and then the media portrayed Trump as wearing this hat. As you can see, the Sunnis used to wear this hat in the past. Many Sunnis used to wear this, and this was actually the norm before the Yahud took over. And notice how they created this ridiculous fake group called Boko Haram, which is a completely fake group, and I exposed it before. I made an entire video about why Boko Haram is fake. And notice that they are also wearing the Kalansuba, and on their video they actually say that they are against Shiism, Sufism, and even Salafism. Now all these other fake terrorist groups, many of these other groups claim that they are Salafis, but these guys are even against Salafism. So they even try to copy me in that regard because I'm not a Salafi. For example, ISIS claims to be Salafi. Osama bin Laden was a Salafi. Salafi or Wahhabi, whatever you want to call them. But I said that I'm against all these ideologies. And then you see Boko Haram wearing this hat and saying that they are against all these ideologies, including Salafism, even Salafism. But in case you think that the Trump hat thing is a coincidence, notice that I later said that we actually are supposed to wear a white Kalansua. So I stopped wearing the green one or any other color. I started only wearing white because that's what the Prophet used to wear. And I also said that we have to wear a turban around this white hat. And right after I said that, the media is sort of showing these pictures, these portraits of Donald Trump. And notice how his hair is shaped like a turban. You see his hair is like a turban. You see he's got the hat on, the white hat. But they shaped his hair like a turban. Now, why did they do that? The only reason they did that was to copy me. I mean, there's literally no reason why his hair should look like a turban. And here you see that they've shaped his hair like the Kalansuwa. So here he's not wearing the pointy hat. He's not wearing the Kalansuwa. They call it the Don's hat on the media. And the reason why they call it the Don's hat is that it goes way back to about 100 years ago when the communists were calling the Tartarians dunces. It was an insult. They were insulting the Tartarians. So this whole thing about the Don's hat, it goes back to Tartaria because the Tartarians used to be insulted by the communists. And it's interesting how today these so-called capitalists in the West are using the same terminology and propaganda as the communists, even though they're supposedly the opposite of the communists. But it's interesting that here we see that they've shaped his hair like the hat. So here they haven't even put a white hat on his head. They instead shaped his hair like that. You see? It's all staged, man. The whole news and stuff, this whole fake and staged. It's all satanic propaganda and to copy the Fitra and to confuse people and deceive people. It's all spiritual warfare. And of course they love saying that, oh no, it's all a coincidence, and oh no, you're paranoid, and they love to give fake explanations for every single one of them. But it's when you put them all next to each other, when you put all these pictures next to, and clips, video clips next to each other, then you can see that this is definitely not a coincidence. And they're just making excuse every time they make an excuse. Oh, this is why we've done this for this hair. This is why we put this hat on. But I mean, come on. I mean, how could it be all these things at the same time? They make up fake excuses, but if you're not an idiot, you can tell that these are just excuses and they have a different agenda behind it.
Portrayed Donald Trump with a sort of ice cream style hairdo, and the reason for that is all of the U-turns and backpedaling that Donald Trump appears to have done in this meeting with the New York Times. He's given very few interviews since he was elected, dodging what he refers to as the crooked media.
Sitting around a table saying, oh, if Donald Trump, the insurgent, gets the nomination, they may not support you. And meanwhile, the NRSC sent out a memo telling candidates, by the way, warning them that you might win, and by the way, you should adopt some of Donald Trump's both rhetoric, how he dresses. What do you say to establishment people that would not support you because you're an insurgent?
Well, first of all, the one memo that was sent out was a great compliment. They were telling long-term politicians that have been doing, I've only been doing this for 5 months, they've been telling long-term politicians how to act, and they have to act like Trump, and they have to dress like Trump, and they have to talk like Trump. I mean, it's going to be a little bit hard for them to get between Facebook and Twitter 10 million people. I have 10 million people between Facebook and Twitter. It's not going to be so easy for them to copy me. I'm self-funding my campaign, so I don't need their contributions, and I don't need them telling me what to do because they have a company where they want to, rip off the country. So I'm self-funding my own campaign. I'm the only one doing it, and I think they're not very happy about it because they won't have control. I won't be a puppet like the other guys are all puppets.
I myself was actually sent many invitations to go and live in Saudi Arabia, and they were telling me that if you go to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi kingdom will give you money and they will fund you and they will give you your own channel and you can say whatever you want. But they were lying, because what they were trying to do was they were trying to control me.
You know, I'm self-funding my campaign, so I don't need their contributions, and I don't need them telling me what to do because they have a company where they want to, you know, rip off the country. So I'm self-funding my own campaign. I'm the only one doing it, and I think they're not very happy about it because they won't have control. And I think they're not very happy about it because they won't have control. I won't be a puppet like the other guys are all puppets.
What they were trying to do was they were trying to control me. They were trying to control what I had to say. You know, if I had agreed, I would have ended up like many of these Arab talk show hosts who just say Shias are bad all day, but they don't say why the Shias are bad. They don't say that the Shias are Zionists.
Because they won't have control. I won't be a puppet like the other guys are all puppets.
They're all the same, and they all want us to get our information from television, from TV. And the fake news and the fake history that is written by the Freemasons and Zionists.
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not
go
appropriate.
Ahead.
Now, it's interesting because Trump never actually proved that any of the news was fake. He just says fake news, like a slogan, like Obama saying change. You know, change what? Change for the better, change for the worse? What are you talking about? And Trump would just say fake news. But then his definition of fake news was that the news is biased against him. So that's what fake news means. That if they don't talk, if they don't say good things about him, that's fake news. So he tried to alter the definition of fake news, because there were lots and lots of videos on YouTube before Trump became president that were literally talking about fake news. They were proving that the news is staged or faked by actors. And so then all of a sudden in 2017, all these videos got deleted, including mine. And then Trump comes up and says, I was the first person to say fake news. And fake news means that the news doesn't support me. It doesn't mean that news is actually fake. It just means any news that is against him, he will call it fake news, whether it's true or not. So it doesn't actually mean that it's faked or staged by actors. It just means it's fake because they're saying bad things about me. See, so they try to alter not only did they delete these videos, but they try to then alter the definition so that whenever someone hears about fake news, they think that, oh, this guy must be a Trump supporter, or you must be influenced by Trump, or you must be repeating what Trump said. Whereas what we were saying is that the news is literally fake. And not only was I saying this before Trump became president, but I was actually writing articles about this all the way back in 2008. And I've showed the articles on my other videos. If you watched my Party of Dajjal video, on part 1, I showed the articles about the real reason why America invaded Iraq, and the article where I predicted the outcome of the fake war between the Shias and Israel. I actually wrote an article before the war ended between the so-called Hezbollah and Israel. I said that this war is fake, and I predicted exactly how it was going to end. And 33 days later, the war ended exactly as I had said. Not 33 days after I predicted it, but 33 days after the war supposedly began. So the war took 33 days to be over, and then it turned out exactly as I had said. So it was totally, completely fake. So, but then all the media is acting like, oh, Trump is behind all this, people talking about fake news. He's the one who started all this. Even though he only started saying it after he became president. Then he became president like it was 2017. So what are they talking about? Well, I'm not sure. Did he become president in 2017 or 18? I think I think it was 2017. So, and there were so many videos in like 2014, 2015, 2016 on YouTube about the news being fake. Not just by me, but many other people were making videos about this terrorist attack, this school shooting being fake and so on. But then Trump tries to take credit for all of it, and the Iranian media and the American media and many of the European media as well, they were all saying Trump is behind this whole, talking about fake news, and anyone who says fake news is with Trump. They were implying that fake news, the very term fake news, is associated somehow with Trump, like no one else was saying it before.
Iran has been demonized effectively for the past 3 decades by the U.S. mainstream media. My question is, when you were watching the president, at that time the president-elect, calling CNN fake news, what do you think about this new comer and this new completely, you know, it's quite a scene.
And of course, we have the world famous at the moment, thanks to Donald Trump, fake news. And
no, I cannot tell a lie. Oh, come on, Brother Washington. Everybody lies occasionally, surely, especially politicians.
Not me. Not even so much as an alternative fact.
But we must all be aware of fake news.
But people...
They only base their reports on allegation. They can bring anyone, doesn't matter what's his title. You can forge anything these days. And we're living in a fake news era, as you know. Everybody knows this. 11th of September, it happened by only 15 terrorists out of maybe millions of immigrants in the United States.
I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake. A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. You know, the dishonest media, they'll say, he didn't get a standing ovation. You know why? No, you know why? Because everybody stood and nobody sat. So they will say, he never got a standing ovation, right? So there they are.
The media is really the word, I think one of the greatest of all terms I've come up with is fake. I guess other people have used it perhaps over the years, but I've never noticed. I'm so proud that I have been able to convince people how fake it is, because it has taken a nosedive. I think one of the best names is, you know, I've really started this whole fake news thing. Now they've turned it around, and then now they're calling, you know, stories put out by Facebook fake. And I think one of the best names is, you know, I've really started this whole fake news thing. Names is, you know, I've really started this whole fake news thing.
So don't be fooled by what the Nusra Front or Jabhat al-Nusra leaders are now saying today, because they propagate the same fake version of history as the fake news on Zionist TV. So they can go back to saying that Iran and America are enemies within a few months or within a few years, when the media changes their rhetoric.
Because Donald Trump doesn't care about anybody but himself. So if he actually wanted to help those protesters, he might go about things quietly, diplomatically, behind the scenes.
He doesn't do that.
What he cares about is, I was right about Iran. Obama was wrong, I was right. Ooh, yeah, Iran bad. Yeah, I got it, dude, I got it. It's all about you.